Okay, so I'm going to continue because I didn't get to finish. So there was a lot of strange things going on when I finished that blog, and I tried to get rid of it. I went to the police station, and I asked them, I didn't even offer, I asked them if they would please send someone down, if they could take my computer, because I was convinced that something with the comments, anything they needed, they could just take it so they could use it to help find what happened to this girl. They didn't take it. You know, I sent copies that I could, of records I had from the blog to that P.O. box that the Spears had set up. And now keep in mind, I don't understand technology very well, so I was just sending the best I could. And I really wanted was somebody with technological know-how to come in and go through this, because I was sure that they could find things. They could find who wrote the comments, and they could identify them, and so on. And I thought it was important to do that because, this girl is missing. And so I offered everything I had. Um, and no one took me up on it. No one. I sent it to the Spears. I went directly to the police. Um, no one took it. And I think I had more information than most. In fact, I know it. I know I did. So it was really pretty crazy that you would expect they would, I mean, they would listen to some girl that lived in Smallwood on the first floor when Lauren lived on the fourth floor, that heard something from somebody who heard it from somebody else who heard it from somebody else, before they would come in, take my computer that had documented proof of people who were involved in the situation talking. I mean, what is wrong with these people, right? Maybe what I had wasn't conclusive, but they were taking information from people who had far less than I did, and they were refusing to take information from me. They were refusing, blatantly out and out refusing it. I was hand delivering it, and they wouldn't take it. Okay, so I gave up because it was just the stress. The stress alone was beyond what I could stomach, and I was getting very sick physically, emotionally. I was just getting very sick, and so I stopped. But I couldn't stop writing and blogging. I've been doing that for a while. I mean, it goes back to Guam even. I've been doing this. This isn't new. Uh, so I went back to it because I don't have a creative life. I can't find employment. That's another surreal thing. Why can't I find employment? I should be. I should be able to find employment. Um, Given my record and given everything I've done and so on, there's no reason why I should be in the position I'm in, unless people, the powers that be, don't want me to, you know. But at any rate, I've done the best I could there. There's no more for me to do. But so I started blogging again, and I brought up Lauren a lot, just to keep her in the public eye. But I didn't do the whole research thing. There were no comments, no research. I wasn't delving into anybody's life. I would just like put her picture up, or, whenever it seemed relevant, just to keep it going, so to speak. Well, it was right about this time that there was news that Steve Jobs died. Again, I had no idea who Steve Jobs is. None. But, my husband starts talking about him. He would be on, he lives in Guam, and then he comes here to see Noah during uh, Christmas holidays and summer holidays. And he started talking to me about it. And so he would say things like, did you know he was into alternative medicine like you are? Did you know, and just telling me all of these things about, things that seemed actually pretty similar to me. And I was like, I didn't know that. But he's telling me them, so I know it now. And so I started to look at it, because then he died, and I put it together because uh, there were some comments about films, about making films and stuff and queuing things and on that this person wrote on the blog. And so I figured it out, right? Because he had something to do with Pixar and some other things. So I figured it out, you know. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. So that means there were some pretty high profile people writing on my blog. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, but then he died, and it was all over the news. And I kept writing, you know. But then I started noticing some kind of weird things happening around town. Okay, because even though I had stopped writing about Lawrence Spears apparently hadn't stopped writing about me. I mean, in some kind of weird, I don't know how to even explain it. I started noticing weird stuff happening around town. Okay, just like really weird stuff. It was like someone was trying to get my attention. Okay, but they didn't want to get it too much because I could be in danger. Well, I totally bought that I could be in danger because they were saying some really awful things on that Jay Rosenbaum Needs to Talk. I mean, there were people who wanted me dead. I mean, there's just like no question. There were some really awful things. So I'm kind of like observing, but from a distance because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get hurt. And I can tell that these weird things that are happening are some of them are to hurt me, but some of them aren't. Some are to protect me. So I'm confused, but I can see that it's going on. And so I'm just kind of watching, and I see um, like signs being posted. Not signs like the kind that are normally posted, but intentional ones, like with things that were designed for me to pay attention to. And I noticed certain cars and trucks going by with signs on them that are directed at me. Because they completely coincide with whatever it was that I wrote that day on the blog. So like I write something on the blog, and then I go out and then I see cars that completely reference what I just wrote. And then the people. Oh, that's the best part of all. Okay, I write about Brad Pitt. I go to Kroger the very same day. There's 10 Brad Pitts at Kroger, lookalikes. Okay, hard not to notice. Okay, and they're not very good actors because they giggle and they look at you and they duck behind stuff and sometimes they try to confront you right up and and it's so obvious. It's like a flash mob, right? Like there's this like someone's trying to tell me something. So I'm thinking to myself, well, that's pretty weird. But not too unexpected. Not I mean, because I also see things going on television, and I know that what I was writing about deserved a lot more press than it got. I know it did. So I know they're aware of me. I know there's no way they could not be. I mean, that's what reporters do. So I'm wondering what's going on here, and I sort of figure out that it's like a messages of support, like from one reporter to another, saying, "Hey, I know you're around. I'm following what you're doing. I'm reading what you're writing, and I just want you to know that I support your cause." Kind of like that, you know. I mean, one day I think I saw, I don't know, 5 or 6 Mini Coopers all at once. You know. So I kind of figured Anderson Cooper. It just made sense. Must be. I mean, it's not like that's not a very typical car to see in mass, right? Um, I go to the pet food store, and all the dog food that has wolves on it are all stacked up, all in the same place where I go every single time to buy my dog food. But they're there displayed with little wolves all around. Well, I'm thinking Wolf Blitzer, okay? So these kinds of things, it's kind of like a way to just show support. And I appreciate that because I don't get any support. Um, but so I start putting it together that meanwhile, okay, so after the Lawrence Spears thing happened, crimes are still happening. And they're still referencing Lawrence Spears. and they're referencing me. What's worse now is that they're referencing me personally. I'm thinking, who on earth, why would somebody want to reference me? Well, someone who doesn't want the Lauren Spears thing to be solved, right? And so initially, I think it's like these person of interest that I was following in the blog, but the crimes get so heinous that it doesn't make sense that it could even be them. Um, and I start seeing the references happening in the White House. That's very unexpected, very, very unexpected. And seeing references like with Angelina Jolie and William Hague, very unexpected. I was just like, what the heck is going on here? This is way bigger than these college kids um, that I thought got drunk with Lauren one night. You know, so that tells me something, right? It's telling me like, well, my God, I guess I got to look at it from that. I instead of looking from something local up, I have to look at something bigger and coming down because it should have stopped somewhere along the way, and I should definitely not be referenced in that way. And that's where the whole Steve Jobs comes in, because he died. And because then I discovered that his wife's name was, I thought it was Lauren. I guess it's Laureen is how it's pronounced. I thought it was Lauren. And then I see, oh my God, it's the same name. And he was writing on the blog. So he was married to someone with the same name as the person that I was writing about looking for her. So then I start to see, wait, there's something a little weird here. There's like a pattern here. Something's going on. And so my radar is now up with that, with Steve Jobs and Lauren. But he died. So I'm thinking, well, he died. And I'm a little worried that somehow the Jay Rosenbaum Needs to Talk blog had something to do with it, which is very scary because I don't want to die. I have a child. I was just looking for a girl that went missing, like all of Bloomington was looking for a girl that went missing. So what I noticed, though, is that even though he's died, the references to him keep coming over and over and over again. I mean, it's so blatant. The White House is everybody's referencing him. I write, so I notice these are literary references, and they're referencing me as well. Not by name, but they'll have like parts of my life up. If you look at it, I could go through all of these White House videos, and I could say, that person looks exactly like my sister. That one looks like my mother. That one looks like this person. That one has the name of this one, and it's just all over the place. And the one with Angelina Jolie in my house, that is a little bit hard to miss. Okay, so I'm thinking, well, if he's dead, why are we bringing him up so much? And am I in danger? And what the hell is going on here? And so I start to look and look and look, and I see certain patterns, certain things that don't make sense from a human nature point of view. Okay? It does not. Lorena, I'm going to say her name wrong, and she's going to hate me even more and try to do something worse just because I couldn't get the name right. Wait, it rhymes with Charlene. Laureen? Okay, I think it's Laureen. Her behavior doesn't make any sense. She's not grieving. I know what grieving looks like, and that ain't it. I grieve more for, for my pets than what she's doing for Steve Jobs. She is not grieving, not even close. She doesn't even miss him. I mean, the behavior makes so little sense that you got to wonder. You got to look at it. So my attention is drawn to her. One, because she has the name, okay, and two, because her behavior makes absolutely no sense. Okay. So I'm paying, she's sort of on my radar, and I have to stop again, but I am going to continue.